to Faith and Sustainability, a podcast where we look deeper into how our faith traditions inspire us to care for our common home. I'm your host, Leonard Robinson.
And I'm Kat Doyle, your co-host. Just a reminder, this podcast is made possible from the generous support of Jamie Lanier, the Varlamov Family Foundation, Georgia Interfaith Power and Light, St. Francis Services, and Semco Atlanta. So let's jump in quickly here, Leonard, and get to our guest today.
Little backstory. When I first moved out to Atlanta about 8 years ago, I said, I need to talk to the who's who in sustainability and environmental. The name that kept coming up was Dr. Jairo Garcia. I'd see him here, I'd see him there, and speaking there. Well, I finally captured him and got him to come on the podcast, Kat. And so we have Dr. Jairo Garcia. He's a certified expert in climate and renewable energy. He's the CEO of Urban Climate Nexus, and he's also a lecturer at Georgia Tech. Welcome to the intersection of faith and sustainability, Dr. Garcia.
Thank you so much, Leonard. I'm so glad to be here. Kat, nice to meet you, and thank you for hosting me today.
We're going to jump in and get right to it. Maybe the first place to start is tell us a little bit more about your background. How did you get to where you are today?
So I have a background, in fact, in engineering, and my background is in electronic engineering. And I was extremely successful working on that for many years, working for many organizations, big organizations. I don't want to mention the product, but maybe you know about this huge beverage here in Atlanta. I worked for that organization for almost a decade. And I have a master's degree in computer science, and I was doing very well in the early 2000s, was making more than six figures money. I was traveling all over the world with this organization, trying to deploy something that we call the internet. You're welcome. You're welcome. So I did a lot of that. But then I decided to pursue my doctoral degree, have my PhD. So I went back to school. And then during that period was that I learned between my studies and traveling all over the world, I learned about the horrendous impact on the environment. We see a lot of progress in society, but if we sacrifice our environment, at the end, we are going to the point that it's going to be a dead end, and where we cannot go any further. And we're going to be basically shoot ourselves in the foot. It was a trip to Peru in which I read this book about this economist. His name is Jeffrey Sachs from Columbia University, the Earth Institute at Columbia University in New York, that is called Commonwealth. And then, the trip to Peru is long, it's like 9 hours. And then the first time that I read about climate change and I read about sustainability and all these things that, even though I was for university for more than 10 years, nobody mentioned to me that. Nobody. But I was looking at that with my own eyes.
What is your definition of sustainability? As we move on, what is your definition?
So this is the point. Sustainability has one universal definition, okay? You can name whatever you want, but that's universal definition. And that definition that it was found by the United Nations back in 1980s, that is called the Brundtland Report. And the definition of sustainability, the official definition of sustainability, is meeting our needs without compromising the needs of future generations. Meeting what we need without sacrificing the needs of our children or the children of our children. I think that is a very powerful statement.
That makes a lot of sense, but it also overlaps so well with our faith because we ask, and Pope Francis was very much about asking, what are we leaving our grandchildren? And making us think ahead and understanding that we've been given this gift and we can't squander it. We have to leave this world at least as nice as it was when we got it. So I love the fact that your definition overlaps and weaves so well into what we do around our Catholic faith. So let me back up maybe and ask a little bit. You said you were reading this book, you were on this plane trip and all that. Was it an aha moment for you? Did you kind of just fireworks going off? So
the aha moment is that, again, I was working for this big company, American company. So I was hostess in the nice hotel, 5-star hotel. I have a chauffeur and everything, but they had to take me where the plant was, and the plant was located where the poor people live. the plan of this company. So in my trip to there, after reading this book, it's like an eye-opening, and I start to look around. And you go to Lima. Lima is a city, but it's very dry. Even though it's in the coast, close to the ocean, it's very dry. And then I remember crossing in this beautiful limousine, crossing the river, the Lima River, at the bridge, and there was no water in the river. There was no water. But less than a mile from the river, there was this plant of beverage selling drinks from a river that doesn't have water. And to me, it was like this moment is like, oh my God, what's going on here? And then when I remember getting in that location, it was like a huge fortress in the sand. You think about, Lima, that part of Lima is like being in the desert. It was a fortress with machine guns in the corners to keep people away. And then I remember opening the huge mahogany door, getting inside and see these fountains and trees and water everywhere. And it was like, oh my God, what is happening? And then they took me to the office of the manager, and there's a beautiful, office with mahogany wood and everything. And I was talking to the guy, and at the same time I was looking through the window, and I was able to see in the distance some kids playing soccer in the sand outside this fortress. And I said, I'm making money for these guys. And look at these kids outside. They don't even have water in the river. What I'm doing, what is my purpose in life? Is my purpose to make money with these people? And that's what I'm here. So I said to the guy, listen, I need to return to the United States. So I came back and I signed my resignation to my 6 figures check. And I said, I'm going to learn what's going on. Went back to school. I joined the Earth Institute at Columbia University to learn about climate change, to learn about sustainability, and to do whatever I can to make this planet better, because what I was seeing all over the world was absolutely disturbing.
Tell me a little bit about, you're the CEO of the Urban Climate Nexus. Tell us a little bit about what they do.
Like, how'd you get to that point?
Yeah.
So I learned about climate change is a huge thing, from agriculture to the oceans to energy, water is huge. But in order to fix that, we need to figure out what are our niche, where we can work, where we can be more efficient to make the change that we need to. And then I realized that one of my biggest passion traveling all over the world was working with cities. Cities are spectacular for many reasons. Cities are like this microorganism that is just everybody doing their part, but it's so synchronous and everybody's doing their own thing. And it's just so perfect that it provides us with water, it provides us with food, it provides us with jobs, it provides us with education, it provides us with health, everything that we need. The problem that I learned when I was at Columbia University was that cities produces 70% of the carbon emissions, which are the ones that are causing climate change. Not only that, we consume more than 75% of the resources of the planet living in cities. So in order to fix the planet, we need to fix cities, because there are billions of people living in cities. And the more and more people are moving to cities. Why? Because cities provide water, cities provide electricity, cities provide health, cities provide opportunities, mainly opportunities. 80% of the GDP is produced in cities. And this is the point. Cities have the intellectual capacity to fix these issues. Cities have universities, they have centers of research, they have people that wants to create businesses with new systems that doesn't destroy the planet. So the people in cities can leverage that power in order to fix the problems that we have. And that was the best option that I could do. That was, a blessed, you can say that it's a blessed working in that area, because not only I'm very passionate about cities, but that is how I ended up working with cities. I used to be the director of climate policies with the city of Atlanta, and I've been working with cities since then. And I teach my class at Georgia Tech. It's called Sustainable Cities, Sustainable Urban Development. And that's where I teach my students that if we fix cities, we can fix all the problems that we have in this planet, many problems.
okay, I'm going to jump in here because you've used the word passion a number of times. And you were so passionate about this, you walked away from this pretty significant position with a pretty significant company. So do you have to, I guess my question is really, how do you engage people that maybe aren't as committed or aren't as passionate about this work? How do we get those people engaged? Because not everybody's like you and going to walk away like you did.
We can do in either way that we can do our portion. We can do our part. I believe that we all are passionate about life. I think we love life. We love the life of our families and life of our kids. Some people love trees. Some people love flowers. Some people love birds. Some people love animals. Listen, if we lose this planet, our home, everything is gone. Everything is gone. There are no more trees, no more butterflies, no more humans, no more children, no more. If we don't fix this problem, we are going to collapse. That is the only place that we know that we can live. And anybody, your listeners, know a planet that we can go now and live there, please let us know. He will become extremely famous because we don't know any other place that we can go. And we are destroying the one that we have. And it's not me saying it or radical left. It's the scientific community. One of the most wonderful and at the same time kind of depressing but wonderful experience at Columbia University was that I was doing intern work. I was doing research with Columbia. And every week, experts from all over the world came here to begin lectures. And all the time telling us there are less trees, there are less animals, there are more contamination, there is less acidity in the oceans. We are destroying this planet.
Wow, you had the opportunity to broaden your lens, so to speak.
Yes, absolutely. So Columbia is because it's the Earth Institute, is working with scientists, but also Columbia is very heavy in economics. So when we're talking about sustainability, I mentioned that that's the definition, but we can achieve sustainability doing three things, but it has to be simultaneously. We cannot do one or the other. We have to do three of them. One, yes, we have to take care of the environment. That is a fact. But the other thing that we need to do is just be sure that we are not affecting our economy, that we are prosperous economically. There is no discussion about that. But the third one is we need to take care of the people. Three things: people, profit, and planet.
Isn't that interesting? Because what you're saying is so aligned with what Pope Francis said. You know, obviously you're familiar with the document Laudato Si, and everybody talks about, climate change. That's maybe 3% of that document. What they don't realize is the concept of integral ecology, and you're defining that right now. So I think it's when you're teaching, is this concept of interconnectedness a part of what you're teaching your students?
Absolutely. And then I think that is the part we are missing, that interconnection. We need to understand that all the universe, all of us, we are interconnected. We are interconnected with the butterflies. We are connected with the oceans. It's all integrated. We believe that we are unique, but we are part of this beautiful, beautiful universe, the beautiful creation. And if we just say, it's just me and nobody else, not only we are going to be miserable, but we are making everybody else miserable. We need to create that connectivity with others and with the environment.
Well, Dr. Garcia, you've worked with many groups. Tell us about your work with faith-based organizations in sustainability.
So my work with the faith-based organizations have been very extensive since I was working with the city of Atlanta. I was working with a lot of faith organizations because, listen, if there is somebody that they can fix these problems, are faith organizations. Because, Americans are very, very religious persons. They believe in God. We have it in our bill, right? In God we trust. And we had the chance to do that. I mean, you guys know there are many influences. We talk about the people that are right now destroying the planet. They are being supported by faith organizations. If those faith organizations stop supporting those individuals, they collapse. They are extremely important. So with those faith organizations, and then there are so many opportunities. Like for instance, when we go to Sunday and we get together and we pray and we collect money in order to keep our churches. Why we had to pay for electricity when we can have that electricity for the sun? Why we don't collect the electricity for the sun and we use that money to the causes that we really do care? Why we had to pay a profit organization for something that God is giving us? Why? I mean, it's just God sometimes believe he's laughing at us, like, look at how idiots they are. Why they had to pay people, bad people, for something that we can use for free? And the churches are huge. They have enormous space in the ceilings to have solar panels, and they are no profits. And now we have the resources to do all of that, and then we can replace the HPC units with heat pumps that save energy and save water. If we don't mobilize those organizations that have the power to make the change, what else we can do? So working again. Mentioned that many organizations here in Georgia, specifically with GEPO. You guys part of the GEPO.
Georgia Interfaith Power and Light.
Yes, with GEPO, with Cody, we've been working for a long time. With Susan, with the Catholic, and you mentioned Pope Francis. Pope Francis, obviously one of my favorite popes, because he would really care about the environment. And he said, listen, he was a science person. He studied chemistry. He was a science person. He knows that we need to take care of this planet. He knew that. And he tries to transmit the message to the rest of the billions of Catholics and other religions. Because we are people of faith, because we believe that we need to give good people. We need to take care of the environment. We need to stop supporting those that are destroying the environment. There is not, you can, this the economy. No, you have to care. You don't care about your house. You don't care about your health and the health of your family. Money is not worth it. And the only way that we can avoid that is to work with the environment. We cannot sacrifice the environment in pro of the economy or in pro of the country. That is sacrificing the environment, is killing ourselves. It's just shooting ourselves in the foot.
So I appreciate you really saying that, because that's also what Pope Francis was talking to us. But when we talk about faith-based organizations, organizationally working with you and having an impact, can individual people of faith make a difference? Or do we have to come and work together organizationally? Both and, either or?
Both. We have to do both. We have to be the example that we want to see in the world. We don't want, like for instance, I go running in the woods all the time. I hate to see trash. Specifically, you just look at the river. We are taking the water from the Chattahoochee River. I go there to run. And every day I go there, I see plastics and I see styrofoams right there in the river. And that's the water that we are drinking. And I don't want to see that. So you know what? I avoid to use those products or buy those products, because I need the change. That change starts from me. Now, once I do go to the next level, is to work with my organizations, my faith organizations, with my church, working. But I had to be the example. Otherwise, what I'm doing, asking others to do what I'm not doing, we have to be the example we want to see in the world. And we want to work with organizations of faith. We want to be sure that disassociate faith from these people that are destroying the planet for profit. That is anti-Christian. That is anti any religion, to support anybody politically, administratively, whatever, that is destroying the planet.
Well, Dr. Garcia, thank you for making it plain. Thank you for meeting us at the intersection of faith and sustainability. Keep up the great work. I know I'll run into you in other venues here and there, but it was so good to have you on the show. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
To our listeners, stay connected with us on social media and share your journey with the hashtag faith and sustainability.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast. And we'll look forward to meeting you next time
at the intersection of faith and sustainability.
The preceding podcast is a production of the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Atlanta. Copyright 2025.